Yeah, but you didn't tell me today, so it's your fault. Okay, we just talked about yesterday's lesson about SOHCAHTOA, and we're just gonna use that on the odds here in a second. Okay, number one. Okay, maybe we should take turns. You guys wanna try?
I'll try one.
Let's try. If you don't wanna try, we can save you for last, but I want everybody to try one.
That's why. Well, let's not go through my locker because we have a worksheet.
Okay,
Can I try? No.
Oh.
hold on, everybody's gonna get one. Okay, who wants to volunteer for, there's 3 problems on number 1, by the way. So, who wants to try number 1? First problem. Emily. So, sine of A is what they're asking us. Over here we said sine of A is equal to opposite over hypotenuse. So, Emily, what side is opposite of angle A? 3. What's the hypotenuse? 5. So the first answer on number 1 is 3 over 5. So some problems, they'll actually tell us what angle A is. Say it's like angle A is 40 degrees. And we plug in sine of 40 degrees. And they won't give us, the calculator won't say 3 over 5, the calculator would say like 0.6. But it just depends on what we're doing. How we gotta use this. Okay, who wants to try the next one? Or we can just go around. Maybe we'll go this way. Okay, Tristan, that's fine. Tristan, cosine of A is equal to the adjacent over the hypotenuse. So what's adjacent to angle A? 4. What's hypotenuse? 5. So it's 4 over 5. Okay, hypotenuse is the largest side. It's always across from the 90-degree angle. Okay, Dylan.
You could probably draw a triangle, like showing.
Good.
3 over.
Not going to.
Just 3 over 4.
Okay, tangent of A. Tangent is equal to the opposite over the adjacent. So Dylan, what's opposite of angle A?
3.
3. What's adjacent to angle A?
4.
4. Okay, number 3. Sine of angle D. Oh, this one's gonna take a little bit of work. We didn't quite have this trick from yesterday. I think we've talked about it this year in algebra and stuff, but okay. Number 3, does anybody want to try, or maybe we'll start going around. Let's go, JV. On number 3, sine of D, so we want the opposite and the hypotenuse. So what's opposite of angle D?
5.
5.
Good job, dude.
What's the hypotenuse?
Square root of 61.
Okay, so it's 5 over square root of 61. However, okay, you guys, anybody know what's wrong with this?
Square root of 61.
You're not supposed to leave square root in the denominator. Some of your calculators can fix it automatically, but basically all you do,
I don't think.
girls, definitely both of you. Okay, basically all you do is multiply the top and bottom by square root of 61. Because what's square root of 61 times square root of 61? 61. What's 5 times square root of 61? Okay. So that all that does is get rid of the square root in the denominator, which you're supposed to do. If the 5 and 61 reduced here, we're supposed to reduce it. It doesn't, but 61's prime.
Mr. Jordan?
Yeah.
Do you know where a fraction button would be on this kind of calculator?
I wouldn't recommend using that one. It kind of has a fraction. You can use the division button, but it does. It's not very good for fractions, really. Okay. Number 3, cosine of D. So Montana, for cosine, we need adjacent over hypotenuse. So what's adjacent to angle D?
6.
6. And what's the hypotenuse?
Square root of 61.
Correct. So we have to multiply by square root of 61 again. So it's kind of the same thing as the last time. It's just going to be 6 square root of 61 over 61. That's getting messier and messier. All right. Maury, for 3, we need tangent of D. So we need opposite over adjacent. What's opposite of angle D? So do you see angle D in the picture? It's down here.
Oh, 5.
Alright, so opposite is 5, and then what's the adjacent? 6. Got it right next to it. So 5 over 6, we don't need to do anything to that, so it's just easy. If the fraction reduces, you need to reduce it always. Okay, Gracie, number 5, sine of y. So for sine, we need opposite over hypotenuse. So what's the opposite of angle y?
6.
6. What's the hypotenuse?
2 square root.
Okay. Alright, what do you guys think about that one? Well, 6 and 2 reduce, right? 6 divided by 2 is 3. But also, we're not supposed to leave the square root of 13, so it's
3 square root of 13 over 13.
right, multiply by square root of 13 on top. So it's 3 square root of 13 over 13. If you have a nice calculator and you just plug the original thing in, it will do it for you. Anyway, but that's it. Will, you didn't do one, did you?
Huh?
5.
No.
Okay, so we need cosine of y. So we need adjacent hypotenuse. What is adjacent to angle y?
Which
Number 5. Cosine of y. What's adjacent to angle y?
4,
What's the hypotenuse?
2 square root of 13, so that would end up being 2 square root of 13 over 13.
Yeah, 4 and 2 reduced to 2. Whoops. Multiply by square root of 13 on top and bottom. Hush. So we get 2 square root of 13 over 13. Mr. Smith liked that joke. Okay, tangent
Oh,
of
Mr.
y.
Smith?
Yeah,
Wow,
I've
that's
never heard him laugh before.
Not
really.
that.
Uh,
That was a whole lot.
I didn't know he laughed that hard. We all hear.
He hates the song more. He says he likes us, but no, that's fine. I heard from the juniors that
You like that from this?
Yes.
He doesn't.
Okay, tangent of y. Let's see. Trevor.
Sorry.
So tangent is opposite over adjacent. So what is the opposite of angle y on number 5?
6.
6. And what's the adjacent?
Adjacent is the thing opposite of the right angle, right?
No, that's hypotenuse.
So which one is the adjacent?
Adjacent means next. Okay, Jasmine, why don't you move over? I might have to make this permanent. Well, no, Jaden sits right there normally. That's right. Okay, just go. We'll figure it out later.
Would adjacent be 4?
I'll set you next to Will. That'll make him happy.
Please don't.
What did he do wrong?
Will starts crying. Okay, adjacent means right next to, but it's not the hypotenuse. So what's right next to angle y?
4.
And you guys know what 6 over 4 is?
3 over 2.
3 over 2. Okay. Number 7 says write a decimal approximation, so we're going to need to turn the answers into decimals. to 4 decimal places. We did that yesterday, right? For each trig ratio. Okay, does anybody know what the problem on number 7 is?
You don't have the hypotenuse.
They did not.
It's a Pythagorean theorem.
They did not give us the hypotenuse. They left us a blank on the triangle.
So you go.
So the triangle says 30, 16. So I need the hypotenuse over here. Oh, C, I guess. How do I find the hypotenuse?
So column, you put.
A squared plus B squared equals C squared.
Oh, I was completely wrong.
I might have mentioned this yesterday, but there's probably going to be like 6 out of 60 of the math questions are like trigonometry on the ACT. Probably 2 or 3 of them are going to be Pythagorean theorem. That's an important one too. So anyway, you guys remember how they set up? 16 squared
Plus 30
plus 30 squared.
equals
C squared.
1,154 or 6? 56. 6, okay.
Okay, equals C squared. So C is the square root of 1156.
34.
34.
Oh, wow. That was nice.
Okay, so we'll just put a 34 right there.
No.
And on 7, we're supposed to be using angle A here.
Plus
Okay, so where do we live off? Carson, right? So Carson, using this triangle right here, what's sine of angle A? So we need opposite and hypotenuse. So what's opposite of angle A?
16,
What's hypotenuse?
34.
Okay, now normally that would reduce, but in this case it doesn't, we don't need to reduce it. You guys know why? Because we're about to change it into a decimal. How do I change that to a decimal?
Just divide 16 over.
Just divide. 16 divided by 34 is 4 decimal places. Point what? 0.4705? Or does it?
6.
What comes right after the 5?
It's an 8, so it rounds up.
Okay. If this number, the 5th digit, is 5 or more, that would make 58 is closer to 60 than it is closer to 50, right? So this rounds to a 6. Okay. On the worksheet that did I give you guys back the worksheet?
No.
Okay, on the worksheet that oh yeah, they're there, that I'm about to give you back, if you rounded wrong, I just counted it wrong. Because, okay, maybe I found somebody going to Jasmine's place.
Good
Dylan,
friend, Emily.
Oh. What?
come on over.
You get a new friend.
BFFs.
Say hello to Dylan and more like.
BFFs for
Hi,
others.
Dylan.
You were talking when I looked up. He was listening, but you were talking. Huh?
Emily, why would you do that?
Shuts up.
Stop.
Okay,
Jasmine.
I forgot what we're doing. We're on 7, part 2, right?
Yeah.
And we left off with Kenyon. Kenyon, did you do one already? Don't think so.
Not yet.
Okay. Kenyon, on cosine, yeah, you might need to make that pretty.
30.
You can sit in Dylan's spot.
Me?
Yeah, tomorrow.
No.
You can sit there today.
It'd be 30 over 34. Right?
I lost my place. Okay, yeah, cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. What's Kenyon? What's adjacent to angle A?
30.
What's hypotenuse?
34.
Okay, so what's 30 divided by 34?
0.8824.
0.8824. Okay, and then Archer, you got the tangent, so we need opposite over adjacent. So what is opposite of A? What's adjacent?
30.
What? Okay, and then somebody needs to plug in the calculator. What's 16 divided by 30? 5353?
No, 5333.
33. Oh, the 3's repeating, that's right. Number 9, I think it's kind of the same thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
We're missing a side of the triangle, right? Which side are we missing this time? This one? I'll call the missing side A there. How can I find side A?
Pythagorean theorem. So a squared plus 12 squared equals 13 squared. 13 squared equals 169.
Okay, that's enough. So, yeah, it's leg squared plus leg squared equals hypotenuse squared. Alright, so, you guys remember your 12s?
Yes, I
12 times 12?
do. Yeah, 144.
Remember your 13s,
Somewhat.
which you never learned?
I learned it.
It's 169. You did not learn 13.
I did CC and they had me learn like a lot. Really? Mm-hmm. Did you do CC? Oh. That's why I know like a bunch of like
Okay.
dorky songs too.
If a squared is 25, then what's a?
A is 5.
5. A is the square root of 25, which is 5. Anyway, so I'm just going to replace that a right there with a 5. Okay,
What did he, was it 34 on the other triangle?
yeah. Just 34, yeah. Mason, so we got sine of G, so we need opposite and hypotenuse. So what is opposite of angle G in that picture? Angle G is up here. What's opposite of that angle?
Don't the one be-
Opposite.
Yeah, like across the street from. Shh, let me try.
Like what letter?
Nope, what side is opposite angle G?
The 5.
Okay, 5 is right next to the angle, so this is called adjacent. Opposite is like across the street from. If you live across the street from somebody, you live opposite to them. So what's opposite of angle G?
12.
12. Okay, this is called opposite. These two are right next to it. The largest side is called hypotenuse. So this is the hypotenuse 13. This other side that's right next to angle G is called the adjacent. So it's adjacent, opposite, hypotenuse. So on this one we're doing sine, so we need the opposite first, which was 12, we already said that. And then we need the hypotenuse next. And which one was the hypotenuse? 13. And then on this problem they're asking for decimals, so you need to plug 12 divided by 13 in the calculator. Somebody needs to do that. Point what?
923
No, we need 4 digits. 9, 2, 3, 1. Yeah, if it's like 0, 5, 0, 6, 0, 7, those round up. So, okay, next, Aiden. Lost my place. Cosine of G, so we need adjacent and hypotenuse. So what's adjacent to angle G? 5. What's hypotenuse?
13.
Okay, and then 5 divided by 13 is
0.38466. 5, 6.
5, 6. Okay, and then
That's right.
I guess we're back to Dylan. We'll just keep going.
Huh?
Okay, Dylan.
I did one.
For which one?
Everybody doing their. Okay, so
Oh no, but like.
tangent of G.
That'd be 5.
So tangent is opposite over adjacent. So
it's right up there.
what is opposite angle G?
12.
What's adjacent?
5.
And what is 12 divided by 5?
2.4.
2.4. That one came out nicely. You didn't have to round it off. Okay, one more of these. I'm getting warm again. Getting. Okay. side on the triangle, what a surprise. Okay, so, I think it was a 4 and a 2, wasn't it? Okay, so we're missing this. I think did Will say the last time?
Huh?
Somebody besides, who said the last one on this part? When we were finding the missing part.
I got a decimal.
Okay, we don't want a decimal though.
Right.
Okay, how do I set this up? Somebody besides Will this time. Gracie?
Square, B square equals, so you do
Ace?
square plus
Oh,
square equals 4 square.
A squared, okay. And then, okay, 2 squared is 4, 4 squared is 16. 16 minus 4 is 12.
So 12
Okay.
square.
square root of 3.
Right, we do not want the decimal answer for square root of 12. What we do want is the square root answer. So it's 2 square root of 3. So right here where that A was, there's just a 2 square root of 3. Alright, and what angle are we looking at? Angle M, which is down at the bottom. We're doing sine, cosine, and tangent. So Emily, side of M is opposite over hypotenuse. What's the opposite of angle M?
2 square root of
And what is the hypotenuse?
4.
Now we could reduce that. We don't really have to because we're just plugging in the calculator and turning it into a decimal. That does reduce. Let's save that for later though, to go a little bit faster. So we'll just keep that like that for now, and we'll come back and plug it in later. And then Jaden, now we're doing cosine. So what's adjacent over hypotenuse?
2 over 4.
2 over 4. We shouldn't need a calculator for that. What's 2 over 4? What's 1/2 as a decimal? So I'll just write 0.5 right now. And then we need, Jasmine, we need tangent of M. And tangent is opposite over adjacent. So what side is opposite of angle M? Opposite means across the way. So what's opposite of angle M?
The other side.
Which side? 4, 2, or 2 squared root of 3?
4.
No. 4 is next. So here's angle M. 4 is 4 and 2 are next to the angle,
2 square root of 3.
and 2 squared root of 3 is across. 4 is the largest side, Jasmine, and it's called the hypotenuse. So this one's hypotenuse, this one's opposite, and this other side that's next to angle M we just call the adjacent side. Adjacent's a fancy word that means next to. You and Montana are adjacent to each other. Anyway, so we need the opposite, 2 squared root of 3, over the adjacent, and the adjacent is 2. Okay, we could plug that in the calculator, or that reduces to square root of 3, so you could just plug square root of 3 in the calculator. So, has anybody plugged this first one in? What's square root of 3 divided by 2? Nobody has yet?
0.8666.
Okay, and then the next one's 0.5, we don't need to plug that one in the calculator. And the last one is square root of 3,
1.7321.
732.
1.
There, I think I wrote it right?
Wait, what was the first one? Second digit.
1.7321.
1.731?
Okay. 13. Use a calculator to find a decimal approximation to 4 decimal places. These are pretty easy except until you get to 17 and 18. Then you gotta wait till I get there. Number 15. Has anybody plugged that one in yet?
Me.
Maybe 13.
Or 13, yeah, I'm at 13.
0.766.
7660, these are easy peasy. Okay, 15, Gracie, you plugged that one in already?
3.7983.
Here's a little trivia for you. Tangent is the only function that can give you a value bigger than 1.
No way.
Sine and cosine, all their values will always be less than 1.
Oh, it's fascinating. Anyway, off to 17.
Okay, 17 is weird. So this is what they wrote. What that means, the way you say that is cosine of 40 degrees and 15 minutes. 15 minutes, 1 minute is 1/60th of a degree. So 15 minutes is like 40 and 15/60th degrees. Here's how I recommend you plug it in the calculator. Cosine parentheses of 40 plus 15/60. And that should work.
So always be over 60.
Minutes are out of 60, yeah. So that makes sense why they're called minutes, get it? Because it's 1/60th. It's not a joke, it's just a thing.
0.763.
Two, yeah. Because if you're longer,
Okay, and 18's even harder than that, so we gotta talk about 18 too.
Yeah, 18 inches and 30 feet, minutes and 30 hours.
Seconds.
Wow.
7 degrees, 18 minutes, 30 seconds. So, guess what? 30 seconds is, guess what? Half a minute. So, how I recommend you write this one is tangent of 7 plus, it's basically 18 and a half minutes. So just put 18.5 out of 60. That's how I recommend you plug that
So
one in.
how would you write it with the 30 seconds? Just like
I
That's-
always
well,
get an error.
That's
when
what I just said. 30 seconds, you might, well, you might need to use
Let
the
me make
division
it-
symbol
Yeah,
right here.
that's what I was about to
like
say.
if they don't give you the 18, or they will always.
Well, I don't think they'll be that mean. I don't feel like 17 and 18 are that important. I don't think you have to worry about it too much.
0.1283.
Well, yeah.
It'd be, yeah.
3 point.
0.1283. I just realized I didn't write 17 down. What was 17?
7632.
7632.
What?
No, I want everybody to thrive. The minutes.
Why can't we just have like more problems of that and all we're about to do?
What we're about to do is kind of a repeat of what we've already done.
So we just did so much of it.
Even more.
I know. And yet,
Oh.
a month from now, it'll all fall out of your brain.
True. That's
So you don't, so we're not probably gonna need to remember the 17.
Right.
I'll probably make you do like one of them on the chapter review, and that's probably about it.
And put on the test.
Probably won't put on that.
I've got to use it.
So just like, okay.
We'll just stick with normal decimal degrees. That's probably what everyone should use. That would just make life better, easier. Anyways, number 19. I think we got 14, don't we? Okay, 14's a repeat. I don't know exactly why it's, 19's a repeat. I do not know why they put this in the B section really. Well, guess what we need to do first with this guy? Yeah, find the hypotenuse. How do I find the hypotenuse?
Wait. 7 squared plus 4 squared.
Yeah, 7 squared plus 4 squared equals c squared.
65 to the square root of 65, which does not come out right.
Oh, that was weird. So,
So it's just 65.
65 does not simplify. Square root of 65 does not simplify. So, we're just going to leave that in the answer. sine, cosine, and tangent for each of these.
How do we do, like?
If you scroll up just a little tiny bit,
Oh, so they're just giving us something, okay, they just didn't write it.
So this is what we're doing.
I see.
It's a repeat of other stuff we've done. Okay, and we left off on Montana, I think.
Can you go up? You should go.
Go up.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
yeah, that's
One.
18.4.
Yeah.
And Luke, you just have Kaden again. So I thought you were asking if he's going to the bathroom again. I know, that's what I was thinking. I was like, are you keeping track?
I think one of the guys said that.
Do you think I have a guy voice? Do you get mixed up?
No.
Mr. George.
He thinks one of the guys has a girly voice.
Yeah.
Okay, Montana, sine is opposite over hypotenuse, so where's angle P at down here? Okay, so what's the opposite of angle P?
7 over 6, square root of 65.
Yeah, and do you remember how we changed the square root on the bottom?
Split it up.
Yeah, it kind of goes on top. So you multiply top and bottom by square root of 65, and you get 7 square root of 65 over 65. When you do, you're not supposed to leave square roots in the denominator. The way you fix it is multiply the top and bottom by square root of 65. The bottom becomes normal 65, the top becomes 7 square root of 65. Or you use a nice calculator and let it do it. Okay, cosine of P is adjacent over hypotenuse. Mari, something very interesting on the ceiling there?
Yeah, it's a sailing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mari, do you know what is adjacent to angle P? Adjacent means next to, but it's not the hypotenuse. So what's, huh? 7 is across the way, yeah. 4,
Sitting on the chair.
hush. Okay, and then what's the hypotenuse? Yeah, the day one, square root of 65. Hypotenuse is also always across, it's kind of the line that looks like a diagonal. Because these two lines are 90-degree angles, this one kind of looks like a diagonal. Anyways, we can't leave square root of 65 on the bottom, so I'm going to multiply by square root of 65 on top and bottom to get 4 square root of 65 over normal 65. Okay, Gracie, tangent is opposite over adjacent, so what's opposite of angle P?
7
What's adjacent?
over
4. And we can just leave that like it is, 7 over 4.
4. Really repetitive. Like with the thinking.
Oh, yeah.
It's really easy because then you can just
Lots
copy
of
and paste
repetition helps you
what
get in your brain, though, so it's good.
Because you just switch views, so when you find a sin for Trevor, then you find the cosine,
Okay,
20, and then
Yeah.
the cosine, 19, you find the sin.
you know what? Since we've already done this, let's just go to 22 on this one.
Really?
Yeah, let's just go to 22. I just ruined Archer's life.
Yeah. You silly.
I said I just ruined Archer's life, and James like, yay.
That's not very nice.
Hey, you
Archer's
said
fine.
He's fine.
I did?
Yeah, yesterday you said, remind me and I'll put bones.
Archer, don't let your snowball
Because I
over you
told
like
you,
that.
I told you that this is
Okay,
fine.
but if I put bones.
It's taller than me. A lot of people are.
Okay.
Not gonna be.
I'll make 28 more. Okay, shh. Almost done. Keep going.
Say 28.
Okay, 21, yeah, just a second. 21 has this triangle right here, so what do we need to do first?
Find out
find the missing side. So, a squared plus 5 squared equals 11 squared.
25 and 121. Then subtract the 25 from the 121, you get 96. So
Okay,
then-
I don't think 96 has a square root, but
Well,
the
it's
square root of
4.
96 does simplify.
I'm so excited to use
It's 4 times 24, is that right? Yeah.
My-
4 squared is 6.
Okay. 4 squared is 6.
What?
Okay. So Will, we need to do the sine of angle J, which, where's J at? Down the bottom. Angle J, we need to go to cosine of J, and we need angle of J. Okay, so Will, sine of J, opposite over hypotenuse. What's the opposite of angle J?
4
What's the hypotenuse?
11.
So it's just 4 squared 6 over 11. Okay, Tristan, we need cosine of J, so we need adjacent over hypotenuse. What is adjacent to angle J?
That would be 11, or no, 5.
Alright, what's the hypotenuse?
11.
So it's just 5 over 11.
I'm just like,
And then
I don't think that's how that works.
tangent of J, I guess
That's not the question.
no, you gotta go to Dylan now.
True.
no, Dylan already did one.
He's not back for that.
So did I.
I should have just assumed.
Dylan's dodging his questions like bullets.
Okay, Trevor, tangent of J is the opposite over adjacent, so what's the opposite of angle J?
4 squared 6.
What's the adjacent?
5?
Yes.
How do you, why isn't it 11 now?
11 is also adjacent to angle J, but it's the hypotenuse.
Okay.
So if it's the hypotenuse, we do not call it the adjacent. Okay, I said I would make 28 a bonus, but I probably need to help you guys to give you a fighting chance on this one. Okay, on 28, it says, sketch right triangle ABC and use it to find exact values for the other two trigonomic ratios for the given angle. So it says sketch triangle ABC. I'll do it like this. ABC.
Wait, what are you? You want to think first thinking, bro?
Okay.
What?
That's why he's holding this thing down.
What? No, I spilled Sprite on my pants.
That's a big mistake.
Sprite.
Alright. Okay. It says on 28 that cosine of B is equal to 3/5. What does that tell us if cosine of B is equal to 3/5?
The adjacent is 3.
The adjacent is 3 and the hypotenuse is 5. That's right. At least the ratio is. Okay. The question, and this is a bonus, so this is where I'm going to stop. Hey, be quiet.
Oh, so it's just like the other problems.
Well, after you do that, it's like the other problems. So the question is, since we already got sine, what's cosine of B and what's tangent of B?
I like that you guys keep it for next class.
Okay. So we'll make that one a bonus.
Okay.
Which one?
Yay.
And don't you have to do
28. That's not
a
right.
squared plus b squared equals?
Mr. Jordan, the 3 supposed to be, isn't
Did I write the wrong number?
the opposite?
No.
That's correct.
Yeah, sorry, the 3 was the opposite side.
Oh,
Okay, that was 28.
Mr. Jordan.
Yeah.
Just about.
I like the energy.